Welcome back to another episode of Apples and Oranges. As usual, I'm Apples.
I'm Oranges.
And today we're going to talk about our movie review of Selma. And we're going to go straight to Synopsis. Oranges, please take that away.
All right. So, Selma was a 2014 drama following Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement, focusing mostly on Selma, Alabama. Now, what stood out to me as far as actors was David Owowo. He was the person who played Martin Luther King. He's kind of a newcomer to the scene. He hasn't been in a whole bunch of movies, but wow, did he look strong in this movie. I felt like I was watching Martin Luther King. And the main antagonist, George Wallace, was played by Tim Roth. You've seen him in several films, and again, he's on point here.
He's an amazing actor.
He's an amazing actor. And Lyndon, the actor who played Lyndon Johnson, the president during the 60s, he was, again, really strong performances all around. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was watching Martin Luther King, the man, not so much the historical figure that we all think him out to be, but they really helped to flesh out Martin Luther King. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to look more into the themes that the movie presents.
The themes in this movie, there's like two really big ones. There's ones of cultural divide and there's ones of sacrifice. Divide coming from like racial tensions between whites and blacks, divide coming from like civil rights like leaders from like Snickers and the civil rights movement that Martin Luther King had with a group down in Selma, and divide coming between Martin Luther King and his wife. And that's a really like powerful like point and theme in the movie, because they even use the camera shots to show like there's a divide between him and his wife by like not showing them in the same shot. They don't show them in the same shot until like the end of the movie. And then the theme of sacrifice is constantly mentioned as they talk about like this is a life and death, like we're doing is making way for the future generation, as they talk about the ripple effects of like how if nothing is done, the Voting Rights Act can never be passed. And that's like one of the major conflicts of the whole entire story of Selma. And now we're going to talk about some of the
pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
Well, this was directed by first-time director Ava DuVernay, and she did this for $20 million, and to fantastic results. Again, this is a well-made, well-shot, well-scripted movie.
Also, some more of the pros. As I was talking about, like the pros of the camera angles, there's a lot of tension in this movie, and they use the camera shots very well to build that tension. Like when Martin Luther King is giving a speech, they'll show like different side points of him, and then as he's like building up the speech, the camera's like slowly panning in on his face to build up that tension. And then there's like camera shots where they're locked in a cell and there's a little bit of light and then it's mostly dark, and he's talking to his wife about like how he's going through darkness and he's waiting to find the light. And it all comes together like as a movie director, it's directed very well.
David Owowo, he actually wasn't nominated for an Oscar for this movie, but I would not have been surprised if he had gotten an Oscar nod, because he was that good. Now, this movie was really good, had a lot of positive things, but it wasn't all good. Now, we did notice that the film dragged a little in the middle, substantially. You notice it was
long as fuck.
And
it builds up a lot of tension. Sometimes it just doesn't climax anywhere. There's a lot of foreshadowing. You're waiting just like, oh snap, is he gonna die? You got J. Edgar Kelly talking about he gonna pull the trigger and like, you know, like take him out. And he's like, it's crazy. But it just never gets to the point where it goes anywhere too quickly.
Now, I wouldn't recommend this movie for a Friday or Saturday night, but I would definitely check it out on a Sunday morning, any weekday. It's a really well-made movie, mm-hmm. but it does drag a little bit in the middle, so just be prepared for that, and get ready for a great ride, because this movie really helps to envelop all that happened at Selma, and it tells you about a huge story in American history.
Yeah. This has been another episode of Apples and Oranges. Again, I'm Oranges.
I'm Apples.
That was right under 5 minutes.
So, we did skip some of talking about the other actors. Another great reason to watch this movie, Selma, is if you like some of these actors. If you've seen Empire, you will notice Trey Bowers is in it. He plays as one of the antagonists in Snickers. Keith Steinfeld, he played in Short Term 12, and he also played in Dope. and he plays a really powerful role in this movie. You also see like actors of Cuba Gooding Jr., Oprah Winfrey, Niecy Nash, and Teresa Thompson. She played in Creed and Dear White People.
Cool.